Perfect. Hello and welcome to another week of Hearthstone Calls, my friends. You guys know what we do here. This is the space where we actually connect with each other. We make time to both challenge and support each other. And honestly, as I just shared with you guys, I was on another call right before this one, and something that came up for me, and I want to run it by you guys and see if you guys are open to it. Um, for the topic for today, because I know we typically feel out what we want to talk about on the day. How do you guys feel about talking about expressing emotions? I think that's very, very powerful. And Aaron did an amazing job modeling that behavior in previous calls. So I wanted to touch on that because I think that that's an area that a lot of men, especially young kings, can benefit from. How do you guys feel about that?
Sounds like a great topic.
I'm ready to roll, brothers.
Let's go. So I guess my question is, how do you guys go about expressing your emotions?
Bueller, Bueller.
Well, it really depends on what emotion you're talking about. Are you specifying a specific emotion? Or are you just talking about the broad range of like toggle switches that we have?
However that comes up for you, Sean,
Well, I
I'll
feel
be
like
happy.
I feel like our whole life is living through emotion. It's like one of the tools. I mean, this is my experience. It's like emotion is always part of it. It's like the jet fuel to things. And it just like when we get in like into a crotch rocket or something really fast, if we give it too much gas and we're not ready, we might blow off the handles. It's the same thing. So for me, my emotion is just kind of part of my bat suit, I guess, my human suit. Um, and depending on what I'm doing, I can use it as a dialing in method to kind of put like gasoline on a fire that's already burning to help me move into different positions and do things in my life. So it's like this. It's part of the starter fuel of how we get things moving.
For sure. How do you go about expressing them?
Well, like I said, I mean, if you're specific about one emotion, that's one thing. But in general, like my life is an expression of emotion. So I have conversations, I move my body, I work on my community projects. If I'm going through something, I talk to someone about it. There's a lot of different ways that I express it, but like really, like sounds hokey, but I feel like my whole life is the expression of the emotion, and then there's certain inflection points that become more intense. So like if things get more intense, like for me, it's really good to talk things out. It's really good to move my body. It's really good to breathe, and then really get to the heart of like, okay, like why is this jet fuel showing up, and like how can I work with it to keep me moving in the direction that I really want to move, which is
I
always
have also a
struggle.
question whenever it's
Yeah, go ahead, Aaron. I'm finished.
splendid. Well, I'll tell you, for me, what was really in my journey, something that was very profound that I learned sorry about that, that I learned recently was that during my parents' divorce, I had to be the therapist for both my mom and my dad. And so a lot of the emotion that I should have been feeling or um, didn't have the opportunity to feel, I did a lot of intellectualizing. So the question that I pose to you guys is, as opposed to intellectualizing emotion, and then speaking it verbally, how do we actually feel our feels and then express them maybe in a healthier way? Does that make sense? Like it's such
Yeah.
a different experience because we can label an emotion. We can say, "Oh, that's like simple example, anxiety or excitement." It's still the same, whatever the hell it is, before we give words to it. So, as opposed to intellectualizing our feels, how do we really feel our feels in our body and then maybe express them? That's a frame I'll bring to the conversation.
Yeah, and that's Sean, and what Aaron's is touch on is kind of why I didn't tell you a specific emotion, because we get to label them, but I love what you said, though, Sean. I think what you're sharing is very powerful, and how your life is that canvas, right, that allows you to express those emotions, and that's beautiful. I can share, and I'll be vulnerable here. I can share that. I like to sit with them. I like to sit with my emotions, and I like to use art or communication as a way to get them out of myself. Because like Karen sharing here, it's easy for us to and intellectualize and just ruminate and just freaking stay in this cycle of just feeling within our bodies. But I believe emotions are meant to be expressed and acknowledged and given to the world. And another for me is especially when I lost my dad earlier this year, there was a massive pull for me to not express my emotions. A big internal pull for me to go distract myself. I was in Dominican Republic, which is a freaking magical place, right? It's paradise. I have childhood best friends there. They wanted to go out, drink, do all that stuff, like to go to the beach, do all these things, and um, I made the decision to actually sit with it, like actually not go and distract myself again, not to go and do other things, but actually sit with those emotions, whatever they might be, happy, sad, grief, anger, whatever, but actually making the time and the space for them so that I can sit with them and then being intentional about how I want to express them into the world in a way that's actually productive and that's not hurting other people or destroying other people. Does that make sense? Am I making sense, guys?
Yeah, you're
Makes sense
making
to me.
sense. Yeah.
Okay. Um, but I've also noticed that it's because I work with a lot of people all over the country, all over the world, and um, I noticed that the expressing part can be challenging for a lot of people. It could be difficult, especially for men, because when you do express emotions, typically that's by society is looked down upon by a big chunk of society, not all society, but a good chunk of society. When you're vocal and open about your emotions, whether you're crying, whether you're angry, whatever it is, when you express emotions, you're punished for it. And typically, behavior analysis in me, when you're punished, the behavior happens less, so you'll do it less because you're being punished every time it happens. Um, but I'm definitely curious about what how do you guys go about um you know like alchemizing those emotions and really yeah, you learn that it's not safe. How do you guys go about alchemizing those emotions personally, if you guys are open to share, when it's becoming easier and easier for us to just suppress and move on.
Can you ask the question again?
I can go.
Yeah. Aaron, you can repeat the question as well. Go
Okay,
ahead.
sure. So, from what I understand, what you said, Carlos, is that the question is, how do we um actually alchemize our emotions? And then as opposed to something else. I'm so sorry.
Suppressing and moving on, yeah.
As opposed to suppressing them. So what
Hmm.
I've done, yeah, that's a fucking awesome question. The reason
I
why I
did.
wanted to reply, hell fucking yeah. Divine inspiration. Yeah, man. Yeah, so I've been not ignoring the call, dude. I've been feeling this fire in my belly. And as opposed to just like doing, like kind of using it 20% or like whatever, like, okay, I'll dance around this a little bit. I've gone like full force in, dude. So like just the past 5 days, I've been working. I can't stop thinking about it, so I'm not trying to freaking brag or like blah, 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 blah. But I've been literally working like 12 or 14-hour days, just waking up, and I cannot stop. I can't stop it. That's how I've been alchemizing it. It's been into the work that I'm doing in my story. It's been in connecting with people. It's been demonstrating the work that I do in the world, my effortless genius. And God, I'll tell you, like freaking yesterday, I was, I had so much energy in my body that I had to do two workouts. I did my first workout And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna save my run for tomorrow. I fucking ran like yesterday, and I still had like so much emotion that I stayed up till like midnight. I literally closed my laptop at 11:57 last night. Um, so all that being said, like that's what I do. I'll usually direct it into my work, um, or work out, which I was working out right before the call, and it turned out I needed to express more emotion. So again, me being vulnerable, I just cried my freaking eyeballs out.
Yeah,
It
it was pretty gay. It was pretty
it was
gay.
super gay. It was in front of
Just kidding.
everybody.
It is fucking powerful as
I'm
fuck, bro.
dead.
You're a king. You're a
No,
king, bro. You're a
it
king.
was yeah, because it's super gay to express emotion. Yeah. No, especially when other men are around. But no, it was fucking magical to be honest. I wasn't expecting to experience all that I did, but it was like I said, I felt like a little kid. I couldn't even freaking get the words out. That's the kind of like like crying that I was doing just an hour ago. So yeah, that's how I alchemize my emotions as opposed to because if when that guy started freaking asking me really hard questions, I could have probably easily intellectualized it and held my composure, but I chose that as soon as I felt the feels, I allowed the floodgates to open, and then as soon as they were open, freaking man, like it was hard to like close them. So I'll close out. I feel complete.
No, that's powerful, bro. That's powerful. And I can feel it. Like, I was on that call with you, and I can definitely feel that power. I saw that your shoulders go down. I saw that heaviness that comes with holding on to emotions. Um, like loosen up for you a little bit. And I said a little bit because it is a process, right? It's not like say like okay, we had to call today and Aaron's good, like everything's alchemized, right? It's really a journey of life.
Forever,
And
yeah, of course. I'm healed forever.
goals, goals. But yeah, dude, like I told you in the car, and like thank you for being vulnerable and open, and that's why it's so important for men to see other men expressing emotion, to see other men actually not just being like, oh, I'm good, like it don't matter, like, and there's times for that, but if all we do is that, the likelihood that we're gonna crash out, like literally crash out, is really high. It's what I've learned from my own experience.
And
Um,
I'll add, it
yeah.
doesn't give men permission at all. It makes it taboo. It keeps it taboo. And that's where our fucked up things happen. I saw the statistics of male suicide. It's like freaking two every single minute, about two every minute, and then you can do the math and shit. But it's like every single hour, it's something like 72 or seven, like 100. That doesn't make sense with two, but God, it's like 100 and freaking whatever, and it's just absurd. My point, I am not able to really speak as logically right now necessarily, but it's absurd. I think it's so vital that we demonstrate to men that it's okay, like to demonstrate emotion and express emotion. Because otherwise, if men aren't seeing it, as in behavior analysis, like people model behavior, they model what they see, not what they hear. And so that's why we are beginning to embody, I think, the message. Yeah, sorry, that just
Yeah, and
yeah.
no, it's so good. And honestly, like you said, like really by modeling that behavior, people can understand it's possible, like, and it's okay. A lot of the time, you don't even think it's possible till you see someone else do it. So by us actually having the balls to express emotions and be open about them, we give other people permission to do the same. And I think that's one of the most powerful things we can do, like actually modeling behavior for someone so they can be like, hey, if he could do it, I could do it too. Like, and he's alive. Look, like Carlos did a video on Instagram 3 months ago. He was crying on social. if he could do it, I could do it too. And it wasn't like I pull my camera up like you see those influencers. They're like, oh, okay. I was just sharing my heart, and it just I like Aaron said, like allowed that to come out. Um, yeah. So that's beautiful, Aaron. I love you, brother, and I appreciate the fuck out of you for real. What's coming up for you, gentlemen? I see a lot of Aaron and I talking, which is I know we would be more than happy to do, but uh, but we definitely want to hear from you guys too.
So the question is alchemizing emotions. Is that the question?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Yeah, thanks for sharing, everybody. Giving some good things to think about.
I'm gonna introduce
I
conscious
was t
language. What if we start the phrase off with "I feel" instead of "I think"? Just an idea. Just and it's a suggestion, just not a. It's just a.
Keeping it in topic, I like it.
So what's the question now? That distracted me. I'm sorry.
All right, let me ask very specifically so I can get a specific reply. Um, how do you gentlemen alchemize your emotions? Is that Carlos?
Gotcha. For me, it's really being honest with myself and sitting with them and seeing what's showing up and taking action or inaction with them. That's typically what I do. So what that looks like is when I sit with them, I breathe and give them space and let them flow through me. And I do my best not to react unless it's really called for in the environment, in the situation. That's typically my flow. Sitting with them, meditating, also having the conversations.
So, Alex, I love that you bring that up because first of all, that's crucial. But I know that words can get a little bit confusing. So let's get clear on that. What does it mean for you to let them flow through you or feel through them? Like dive a little bit deeper on that so that we can all be on the same page. I think I have a pretty good idea of what you mean.
Hmm.
But I want to make sure that we're all on the same page because this is really what you shared is really important and a very powerful tool.
Yeah, the visual for those brothers is it's like I'm filling a cup up as opposed to fire exploding out of my mouth. Like that's kind of what it feels like. It flows through me and doesn't stay in parts of my body. Typically, where I feel a lot of my emotions, well, I guess it depends on them, but I guess now I'll speak of the anger is the fire, deep care. I feel that a lot in my heart. Um, but yeah, it's like water flowing through me, filling my cup up, as opposed to fire exploding out of me, reacting.
So beautiful, so beautiful. And I want to touch on that too, because this is something that I teach a lot of my clients as well. That emotions are felt in the body. And sometimes they do get stagnant and they tend to just basically just sit in our body. I know that for me personally, an area that I will have my emotions like grief, anger, stress. It's like in my diaphragm, like right under my lungs.
Mm.
And it will switch. Sometimes it's right, sometimes it's left. And by me actually doing exactly what Alex broke down, like really sitting with them, creating space for them, like instead of like running away from them, or let me go work out, let me go do this thing, let me go sit with this, let me see where I'm feeling this in my body.
Yeah.
Okay. And then giving myself permission to allow that emotion to, work through me. So when I worked with kids, something that I used to teach other kids all the time is, you are the sky, your feelings and emotions are the clouds. And whether it is a cloudy day, whether it is a clear day, whether it is a stormy day, and you have everything going on, eventually it will pass. And you can try to hold the clouds and like keep them here and do all that stuff, and that's going to cause you even more stress. Instead, we can breathe through it and allow things to take the time that they require to flow through you, actually.
Yeah.
And it's so powerful to understand that, even though you can feel your emotions, you don't have to identify with them.
Mm.
You don't have to be anger, like I am angry. Like you don't have to do that. And a lot of people think that they have to. And in reality, it's a choice. It could be something that you feel. Like I feel angry. I feel sad. I feel happy. Whatever. Um, there's no good or bad emotions. They're all just emotions. So that's I'm loving this. I'm loving this. I'm just gonna say that. I'm just gonna say that. I
This has
see
been an
you. Yeah.
incredible
What's up?
conversation. Also,
Well,
I
yeah.
want to
God, dude.
highlight the massive um, depths of wisdom that I'm hearing from both Alex and Sean. I know I've been a little bit challenging you guys, but I really hear what it is that you're describing. Because I mean, shit, your whole work has to do with transmuting that shit through your body, through movement. So yeah, you'll have to excuse my fire. I really I'm so intentional about being as direct as possible now.
Thanks for sharing. And it's good to see you stepping into that, young man. I'll be curious how that exploration goes for you. Um, yeah, the other thought I had too is actually the feeling and what I see, rather, not think. Um, the emotions, as they flow through us, they flow through our heart. They're connected with our heart. They're connected with our care. And care is associated with the heart and feeling. And as we think, then we feel, then we act. So the emotions, I love what Sean was saying. It's like they are the jet fuel to then fuel our actions. Because if we're familiar with the 3-step process of manifestation, thoughts, feelings, actions. So it makes sense why the heart is so powerful and how it's so electric, and why we feel things like through our heart and speaking from the heart. And when we do that, I find that, especially if we can focus it, like we were talking about, Carlos, is like having it flow through you as opposed to it exploding out of you, then your actions are going to really reflect that state of having them flow through you. It's like, and then like what I tell people too is like, do you get mad at your car for its gas? And like, what are you talking about? I'm like, yeah, do you get mad that your car has gas? Like, well, no, that doesn't even make sense. It's like your emotions are your gas. Like they fill your tank and they're the energy that guides you towards your actions. So um, and speaking of conscious language, this is what I wanted to touch on too. A lot of the times, what I'll say instead of I feel, I'll say I'm experiencing like anger. I'm experiencing sadness. I'm experiencing it right now because as I'm in that driver's seat as the experiencer, I notice that I can get supercharged, but it's more like I'm in the driver's seat of my car and I'm going up to 200, and it's like, oh, like this is happening. So I'm on the autobahn and like, okay, I'm at 200. I got to dial in. I got to focus. Like this isn't the time to lose it. It's the time to focus.
So beautiful. I will add on to this by bringing my nerdy side into this because I like us men. I think you guys could probably benefit from this as well. But I like to be logical, right? I like to be logical and go back to the physical world and what's really happening. And our emotions are a lot of the time a reaction that that our body has to the environment based on previous conditioning and previous learning experiences. So a lot of the time, the emotions we have are from our ancestors who used to live in caves 2,000 years, 5,000 years ago, whatever, 100 years ago. I don't freaking know. A long time ago, and we are still, holding on to a lot of those same emotions. So because of that, there's many times where emotions are not appropriate when it comes to the environment or the situation we're in. And I've noticed humans, and I'll speak for humanity about this. We tend to allow those emotions to dictate how we interact with the environment instead of deciding if the emotion is helpful or unhelpful. Because sometimes, like, you'll have stress or you'll have anxiety or whatever, and that's a good thing. Like, people think I'm crazy when I say this all the time. That stress and anxiety are good because they actually keep you alive. That they're evolutionary trait that we developed as a way to keep our ancestors alive, not being eaten by a freaking tiger when they're on their way home. But there's no tiger anymore, right? Like, a lot of the times we don't have opportunity, like, experiences throughout our day that are life or death, but we still have the same circuitry. So whenever I'm feeling anxious or stressed and I don't know why, I see, and I'm big. You guys know I'm big in the mental health field. Like, I've been in the mental health field for a long time, and I have a lot of friends who are therapists who are amazing therapists. But I also see a lot of therapists who um like to kind of just give so much power to these emotions when in reality a lot of the time they're not even helpful, and they're just a random reaction to the environment. And I like to, especially when I'm in the mood, when I'm making and I have things going on, I like to ask myself, is this emotion helpful or unhelpful in the situation right now? And that allows me to determine, like, I'm waiting in line at the bank, like, stress, like, why am I, like, anxious? Like, how is this gonna help me get quicker in the line? The line's gonna move the same distance. So what I can do is I can breathe through it, allow it to flow through me. I acknowledge it. I'm like, I am, feeling anxious. And I don't need to know why, and that's fine. Like, I don't need to know why. I definitely recommend, if it's coming up a lot, take some time to sit with it and do what I would say, and, like, really create that space for it, maybe figure out where it might be living in your body. But for the most part, as we're living through our lives, we can move a lot quicker by realizing that a lot of the emotions that we feel, they're not even helpful. And when we have that clarity with our values and what matters to us most, it's easier to determine what's a helpful emotion in a situation and what's not.
It's, dude, you bring up such a good point because, like, if you're getting chased by a tiger, you should feel stress and anxiety.
You gotta.
And if your animal farm burns down and you're on level 2, I don't know if that's how the game rolls, but and you're getting super enraged and super stressed out, you should probably reevaluate your life. But it's funny because also,
Take a
like,
step back.
and it's so interesting because people feel different things about different things, and, like, that's the fascinating thing, and that really always begs the question for me. Is like, I wonder what this person is making this mean. Like, in what context are we speaking? This person's feeling this. What are they making this mean? And that's when I find that we can have really robust conversations and we explore, like, oh, like, this is how we express ourselves, and we do it through our words and our actions. And I think for men, this is something else I wanted to hear about what you brothers have to say, is that with men and women, they express their feelings differently, and we're also expressing the same emotion. And with that, I noticed that men, it's really important for them to not only help other men feel safe, but women feel safe with sharing their emotions. And a lot of the times when people don't know how to handle it, and then they get defensive, and then they make it about themselves as opposed to the person expressing. And I see that this is a huge effing breakdown in communication and expression. Like, someone's sharing a feeling, then someone immediately defends, like, oh, well, this or that, especially if they were involved. And, like, instead of just being like, thank you for sharing what I'm hearing and I'm understanding, and really seeking to understand before being understood, because then the person feels heard. And then we're not making it about ourselves. And I see that's a huge breakdown amongst brothers, man, because especially when their woman's talking to them, and they think they got to fix everything. I think she's just expressing her feelings. And then the guy's like, oh well, I'm just gonna fix this. It's like, no, bro, you're not supposed to fix this. You're supposed to acknowledge and listen and let her feel these things. Because as you said, Aaron, then it helps bring it down through the body. And then we can actually see things for what they are as opposed to becoming our emotions and becoming those things and like getting trapped, like trapped in that loop. Did that make
So
sense, guys?
it did, and honestly, like I said before, and I said it before, and I said it again. Women are magic,
Oh yeah, they
and
are.
they're so good at actually expressing emotions, and I think we can, as men, we can learn a lot from them, and like lean into that as well at times. I think that it could be really helpful. Like actually sitting with yourself, like, for a long time I was like, why do women like watch like sad movies? Like, why do you like why are you cry? Like, what do you want to watch this to make you cry? Like, every time you watch you're gonna cry. Like, why? Like, it doesn't make any sense. But what I've learned is that like they're expressing their emotions. They're actually allowing themselves to feel those feelings and allowing them to escape their body, actually like get out and. Um, I noticed that many men, shout out to 50 Cent.
I was just about to say, man.
I know you were thinking about Mr. Old
You
Guy
know
over
I'm
here. I'm just
old.
kidding.
You know I'm old. Give me a break.
but I noticed definitely that a lot of men, um, they have sometimes anger or let's take to anger and instead of sitting with it and acknowledging it and like
Enjoy.
really allowing it to allowing themselves to be they don't create that space and they go directly into action. And whether it is exercise, I have a lot of fighter friends and they go and like just hit a bag for a bunch and like, that's cool. That's a great way to express your emotions. But if you're not acknowledging them first, like there's probably going to be emotions there that are not being expressed. There's gonna be you're gonna be surface level like at the expression, and I notice a lot of men do that, and they end up like like working out like freaking crazy amounts of time or working out at their job for like crazy amounts of time, and redirecting that energy to do that,
Hmm.
but never allowing themselves to like, okay, let me sit with this. Let
Yeah.
me cry if I need to cry. Let me be angry if I need to be angry. And once you actually acknowledge it, then you can really send it, like really utilize that energy and direct it. And when I go fuck up that bag and I'm like doing some boxing, it's even more powerful because when I'm done with the bag, I feel good. I feel complete instead of me feeling like, damn, like I feel good in the moment, but I'm still like, there's still a lingering feeling in me.
Hmm.
And I think that's where the breakdown happens for a lot of men, that acknowledging part, that part where you sit with it. And that's why I'm so happy that you brought that up, Alex, because that's really where the power lies. Like if you're like just go, go, go all the time, which most men do, the likelihood that you're not tapping into the deepest emotions, which are the most powerful unconscious ones, after you hit the bag and you work like and you do all this crazy stuff and you still feel like this lingering feeling of like incompleteness, if that makes sense.
Hmm. Well, then they linger and then they kind of morph, and we wonder
Mm,
why people get sick, because one
mm,
thing becomes a 10-headed monster, and then you don't even remember what it is. So, taking that time in that moment it's so critical because it allows you to process it as opposed to it being backlogged. And guys, nobody likes paperwork in and of itself, and nobody wants extra paperwork. Nobody wants that.
fuck that shit.
One more thing I'll share. I'll share a personal experience that's been going on this week, and then I'll turn it over to you, brothers, kind of to bring this all together, put a nice little package on it. Um, and also, Aaron, I got some advice for you if you're willing to hear it. I love how you're stepping up and being direct, and I'd love to share some advice with you if you're open to hearing that. But so this weekend, things really came to a head in my family between my sister um, and her partner. And long story short, it was speaking of emotions, like I noticed that there was a lot of charged emotions in certain ways and like very deep seated things, personal things for them, like personal work they're doing and also work they're doing together. and the fact they have kids. And what was fascinating is that I read the situation, like I saw how charged the emotions were, and I got there, like where they were at, like I assessed the situation. And then I waited 12 hours and I requested that they have space from each other, give each other space, give the emotions space. And I talked to them 12 hours later, then 24 hours later, and then 36 hours later. And I talked to them throughout the whole weekend for about 2.5 days. And once the emotions started moving through from that initial response, like their answers completely changed. And like, guys, like if you're really going through the emotions, like rising above it and like feeling it and letting it go through you, like you see situations in a whole new way, like a whole new way. And it was so interesting how it went from one thing to a completely different thing. And when you're really present in that space, like what you really actually discover, that's what I call living.
You're a king, bro. Thanks for blessing your family. Like making sure that we share these tools and we create that space for our family. That's so important. Something that's been coming up for me a lot is, being the head of the family, and that's one of the most important parts of it. It's really helping people navigate those emotions so that they can communicate better. Because a lot of the time there's um issues in communication that create bigger problems. And when we are able to help other people, because I think that's where, it's important for us to understand our emotions, but when we do that, we also gain the ability to help other people through these. And we can help facilitate those conversations for other people so that those problems can be resolved. And I consider myself the head of my family. Like it's so crucial for me to problem solve, and to create and to solve those that friction, get rid of that friction as much as possible, so that we can really have that harmony, not only within myself, but also within my family, which is, my second most powerful circle of influence. It starts with me, then my family. So, yeah, dude, I love that. I love that. Thank you for being the head of the family and being the king that your family needed.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks, guys. And since I have two families, it makes it even more fun. But that's why I got a twin. I got a reinforcement. We doing this together. You know how
That's
we
not
make it.
fair. That's
It's
not fair.
yeah, it's really not fair. But that means we have twice the moral obligation, so it all levels out.
The math is math. The math is math.
Oh man, I love it, guys. Aaron, are you open to some advice? He's totally maxing out on his ramen right now. He's like,
Yes,
um,
literally. Yeah.
there he is. There he is. Okay, dude. First and foremost, I acknowledge you. The energy shifts that I've seen you in the last few weeks. I've seen you really step into your leadership, and I really see you stepping into that fire. And my best advice to you too is timing. The concept of timing, and like when to be direct and when it can be received. And you do a good job of listening, and you do a good job of feeling, like in your heart. So I I advise you to really be intentional with how you how you direct that directness. And I'll share with you, like personally, I share this with you because this is a personal lesson for me. Hey, good evening, Brian. Thanks for joining us. Um, but what I've noticed is oh man, I lost my train of thought. So no big feeling. Okay. Um, no, it's gone. It's gone. Brian, you got me, man. You got me. I love it. You got me on my toes. Thanks for joining us.
Bring it back to directness. You were talking about being direct.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah, I got you, bro.
Okay, thank you. Um, it's it's
Siempre tú sabes
important
la
to
Cruz Azul,
be.
la Cruz
Hold on
Azul.
a second.
Thank you,
Otra
Alex.
vez la Cruz Azul.
Well,
Oye, iba
Brian,
ganando 1-0,
Brian,
güey. Mira,
do you mind muting,
no te
please?
cagues de la risa, por favor.
You can be.
Do it.
I'm trying. I'm trying. Okay, wait, hold on. Here we go. Okay, boom. Okay, I just muted everyone. Okay, directness. Okay, fire. So make sure that it can be received. You do a good job of feeling and empathy, and also you do a good job of listening. So make sure that your timing is proper because you got a lot of power. And so make sure that people can receive it. And I see you really making those moves and stepping into that leadership with that listening skill and that feeling skill, like, and that listening to understand skill.
Well, that dovetails perfectly into a concept, which is if any of you have ever built a fire, like you really built a fire, you build a huge bonfire, it burns all night, all the logs are gone. But what stays at the end of it, if it's a hot fire, is a really hot burning ember, and you sometimes don't even see it. So sometimes the fire is so hot that you can't see it. And that's really just a metaphor for there's a lot of power and gentleness. And just because we're full of fire doesn't mean we have to all the time come really intensely. Sometimes really softly is even more intense. So thinking of the ember analogy and how that sucker's still burning and the rising, and you could start a whole new bonfire with that little tiny ember that's so freaking hot that if you touched it, you'd literally melt your hand.
This is spine tingly dingly, guys.
Yeah, that's so good. Why do you guys have all of like the all motherfucker like wisdom? Like, what's going on here? Like, it's amazing. I love you guys have all the visuals and the metaphors that are perfectly put together at the right time. Yeah, that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Well, it's the conversation, man. You guys were steering it, and this is where like the beauty of this is a big part of going through emotions, right? Is having really good conversations and really sharing ideas and stories so that we can relate and then we can put those puzzle pieces into our life so we know how to direct our fire, you know? Because sometimes people aren't ready for it. You're going to incinerate them.
And I definitely want to touch on that, Aaron. How did that land for you? Did that make sense? Did that resonate in any way for you?
Great. Thank you for opening up the floor here. You guys can hear me okay? You guys can hear me?
Yeah,
Loud and
yeah, we can
clear.
hear you.
Okay, awesome. I'll tell you, I've never been this direct in my life. Ever. I'm the kind of guy that's very, very good at making other people feel good about themselves. Very, very good at just saying the right things to make the other person like just happy or whatever, or kind of um like kind of like the nice guy syndrome, you know? But never really speaking my mind or speaking my heart. Really being sincere with my emotions. I watched my dad, Kings. I watched my dad. He's a I'm grateful he's still here. I watched him to other people. Man, we would go to church every weekend on Sunday, and he would be the kind of guy that would be talking with people for an hour and a half after. Charismatic, funny, storyteller, all this shit, right? He's amazing, so kind. And then immediately when we get in the car, it could flip like a switch. I wouldn't know what dad I was getting. I mean, he screamed at my 2-year-old brother when we were all in the car because my brother was crying. He turned around and he said, "Shut up! Stop screaming!" Right? That's the kind of person I grew up around. So I learned for me what I needed to do to be a good person was to be kind and understanding of everybody. So I can see both sides uh, for a lot of things and a lot of people. I see where people are coming from. The only issue with that was I was so good at chameleoning and blending in that I didn't know who the fuck I was until I was 22 years old. Because I wasn't standing for anything. What happens when you don't stand for anything? You end up standing for nothing. So now I understand that it's a little bit on the opposite side of the spectrum here. But I'm riding this wave for a reason. I want to get clear as fuck about what I stand for, and also clear as fuck about what I stand against, what we're up against. And for me personally, what I'm up against is the conformity, what I call the politician Aaron, okay? The one that's politically correct, very, very good at speaking, very good at articulating and just making everybody happy. I'm honestly done with that. I'm here to be a fire starter and create disruption. And I also acknowledge and appreciate your wisdom because I do hear it and I understand it. I'm listening. It sounds like there's a time to be direct and then there's a time to lay off the gas a little bit, slow down, be more indirect, be more gentle, right? Um, So I totally hear both of you guys. I just want to share how completely scared I am of going in the opposite direction because because it's so easy for me, I think, to go back to my old conditioning. Thanks you guys for holding this space for me.
Of course, bro. That's what we do here. Appreciate you sharing, working through your stuff. It's an honor and a privilege. And I want to add something to your statement. If we don't stand for nothing, it's not that we stand for. Or you say, wait, say what you said again, real quick. I want to
Sure,
make sure.
absolutely. If we don't know what we stand for, we'll end up standing for nothing.
We actually will end up falling for everything.
Better yet, if we aren't clear on what we stand for. But yes,
Well,
you're 100% right.
then
Yeah.
we fall for everything, right? And what you said about knowing what you don't want and what you stand up against, Kings, like that's actually more important than the positive in some senses, because when we apophatically reason, which is reason in the negation, the negativity, the nots, what I do not, it dissolves all ambiguity. And that's why it's so important because the chameleon is the drifter, and we all have that energy inside of us. So it susses out the drifter in us. That's what that does. The apophatic, the negative reasoning. I do not want this. No, like using those words because that really helps define the
Fuck
boundaries.
yes. That resonates with a fuck yes. Because
Because
I used to just be like, oh, okay, yeah, yeah, that's cool. But now I don't care. I'm gonna say hell yeah.
well, if everything is
That
good,
resonates, baby.
that's the consequence, and the work is doing that apophatic is it's refining, and that's what I'm hearing from you is the refining. And to bring it back to the emotions, like that's what we can do is we can use that reasoning and we can intellectualize it, but we can also feel into it and we can work with it in those different angles and explore that energy. But yeah, big fan of apophatic reasoning, reasoning in the negative as opposed to deductive reasoning, which is in the positive. Um, so
Yes, I will
hope that,
dovetail onto that. Um, I know Carlos has also read the book, Never Split the Difference. Chris Voss says, getting people to say no is one of the most powerful ways to negotiate.
hmm,
Because when you can say, listen, are you totally, completely opposed to X? Somebody say, no. You give them permission to say no, as opposed to saying, do you want to do X? Then they are pressured to say yes. But if you can say, are you opposed to doing this thing? You give them permission to kind of suss out the no. I love what you're describing, Alex. Can you say what that's called again?
yeah, absolutely. It's apophatic, apophatic. Sean, are you getting the chubby or what? Mr. Definitions over there.
He's loving this, bro.
Honestly, I don't want to undersell it, but I'm only half chubbed. You're gonna have to do a little more than that, buddy. But I'm getting there.
Well, Brian, maybe if we inform Brian and Ken about this, Sean's a big definitions guy. In this community, he's definitions and he's really got those on point. So just to give you guys a little context, I know you're a little newer to the calls.
Hey man, I would like to talk, but I'm at work and I don't want to, bring the work noise into here. You know,
Bro,
so I'm just
bro,
listening
lay it
on, and
down.
you know what I mean. I'll be back
Yeah,
though.
cool, man. We'll lay it down if you can. I'm glad that he gets to listen. Thanks for tuning in, man. I see you. I see you
Well,
making those moves, man. We've been
well,
so
gentlemen,
yeah.
yeah.
Go on, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm loving this conversation. I think this is really, really helpful and an important conversations to be had today. And not tomorrow, not yesterday, literally today. Like it's an important conversation to have. And I love the dynamic of us, both challenging and supporting each other. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. And I love to see. I know that personally I used to struggle a lot with being a people pleaser. Um, Honestly, when I was here speaking before you into the politician era, and that's all I was thinking about. So yeah, politician era, where you make everybody happy and stuff. And I'm guilty of the same thing. Like for a long time, I was like, let me make sure I make everyone happy. And now my intention it's a little bit different, right? Yeah, like I want to bring joy and happiness to the world, but I want to bring truth and honesty more than anything. And presenting that truth and honesty in a way that the person who I'm sharing that with is it's open to receive it. So I, I'm very direct. I literally cannot sit with like a thought like I'm gonna get it out of myself. Like I'm gonna express it. And I always make sure that the person is actually in a space, has the capacity to have the conversation, or to receive what I'm saying. Because otherwise, it's going to be just me saying something. They're probably going to think it's an attack, and then they're going to attack me back. And then that starts a war that nobody can win. So it as a former people pleaser myself, like I highly support what you're doing, Aaron, and being more direct. I think it's beautiful. The world needs more directness and more honesty. Um, and yeah, just like Alex said, it's really about timing. Make sure that that the person is in the right space and in the right season to receive what you have to say, because otherwise it's gonna come out as combative, and then no real conversation or no real solutions can arise from that. Even if might solve a problem in the moment, um, it creates tension between within the relationship. So. I'm loving this. I'm loving this because I know that was a big struggle for me for sure.
Hmm.
Well, I'll challenge you back. Is it such a bad thing to have tension in a relationship?
No, no. It depends. It depends if that's your intention. If your intention is to create tension, that's cool. If your intention is to create a solution, that's cool too. Because sometimes, like that tension can, for me, I like to use tension as a way to um basic create transformation within someone. I like to
Hmm.
really tap into that tension within themselves to help them to shake them up, like basically to create that disruption within them so that they can change. So tension is not bad, if that's your intention, but I'm specifically talking about when you're trying to um, have a constructive conversation with someone where when you're both adding and you're both building, that tension can make that intraverbal conversation more difficult, and allow for a deeper and it would make it I would argue a little bit more difficult to go deeper with that person because that tension, if not used properly, because it's a really, really powerful tool, can like I mentioned before, it will make the person become defensive. And when someone becomes defensive, what do? They close off. Right. So, and then the amount, like how deep you could go gets limited. But I love tension. Well, tension is definitely not bad at all.
Timing.
Wow, powerful, powerful way to answer that question back. Thank you, Carlos. You are an absolute
God,
king.
dude. And handsome. You didn't say handsome. I'm just kidding.
Let's not
Uh,
get ahead of ourselves, guys. Come
A
on.
handsome king.
We've got
hey, we all are.
Love to see it.
We've got some new kings on the call. Come on, come on.
Motherfucker never coming back. He's like, fuck this shit.
There's a reason why I'm the VP. It's because I got to give you some shtick every once in a while. Come on, bud.
Thank you, Vance. Thank you, Vance. I appreciate you, bro. You gotta
Yeah.
keep me on my toes. You gotta keep me on my toes. Otherwise, I go full Trump and start coming crazy at Ukraine.
Orange man good. Orange man good.
Thick. No, this is awesome. I mean, I definitely want to close it out. I want to make sure that we honor everyone's time.
Hmm.
And we're, at the tail end of the conversation. Is there anything else you guys want to say before or share before we jump off and close out the call?
This has been a great call, Carlos. Thanks everyone for doing this tonight. This has been really a great conversation.
I agree. I agree. Beautiful. So it sounds like everyone's super complete. You guys already know. Invite your friends to June 1st mastermind. That one's open for everybody. Any man, whether it is a young man who wants some guidance or established king who wants to share some wisdom, they're more than welcome. It's a free call. So you invite your people to it. It's June 1st, first Sunday of every month, and our next one is June 1st, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Those calls are massively powerful. We have usually our turnouts are 2 digits plus. So we have a lot of people on. I already have 15 confirmations from doctors, business owners, dads, college students. Like there's gonna be a lot of amazing people on. So make sure you tap in. We do these calls every week though. So like tap into these. This is a great way to just make sure you're getting that support. Um, with that being said, you guys know, let's keep going, let's keep growing. It's all love.
Thanks for showing up today, everybody. Great seeing y'all and great seeing new and old faces.
Thanks everybody.